So then let's start the session, guys. So, students, we are actually in the business management subject. So, this is going to be our very first session. And welcome to the exciting journey into the world of business management. And today, my dears, we will explore, how this management system works, through the eyes of Sri Lankan community as well as internationally. So, the chapter one, it's all about the introduction to management and different perspectives of management. So here we are going to explore about the introduction of the management. What does this means by management? And there are different perspectives. It means different views of managements by different people, and we will learn about 11 subtopics here actually. The first one is about introduction to management, and we will move to organizational resources and assets and organizational purposes. And we will study about efficiency as well as effectiveness and productivity, management functions and management as a necessity, and the classifications of managers and management roles, and the requirements for a good management and the modern management challenges. So these are the subtopics we are actually having in the chapter 1, right? So for example, my dears, in these subtopics, it's like this is like your GPS for our learning adventure of this chapter 1, right? So the introduction to management, the first point is historical context, right? So we are starting our journey by understanding what management really is, right? So historical context means the management, it has been around for thousands of years. That's what I'm trying to make sense here. So it's around thousands of years. It's not just the concept that before 2 or 3 years invented, right? It's a old as human civilization itself, right? That's a very old subject, the management. So management has existed throughout the human history. From ancient strategies for production and hunting to complex architectural projects like the Egyptian pyramids and Sri Lankan Dakabos, there is evidence of its existence. And these historical examples demonstrate sophisticated management practices that developed organically before management became a formal field of study. So this is just for your understanding purpose. What I'm trying to tell you this here, what our ancestors, right? Our ancestors built a magnificent Sigiriya, the Sigiriya, right? The Sigiriya fortress, or the ancient Dakobas in Andhra areas. They needed management. Someone had to plan the construction, someone has to organize the workers, and some people has to lead the teams, and someone has to responsible to control the quality, right? So let me share a story, my dears. Imagine, if King Kashyapa, right? He's known for his Sigiriya, right? So from Sigiriya, had to run his kingdom like a modern business, right? He would need to plan. He would need to organize. He would need to lead and control. For example, plan in the sense his defense strategies. Just like how Dialog Company, they plans their network expansion entire Sri Lanka. So he has some defense strategies, and he organized his army divisions, like how Keel's company, they organizes their supermarket chains, the organization. At the same time that King Kashyapa, so he lead his people, right? So nowadays a business like Cargill leadership motivates their staff and control his kingdom's resources, like how Food City controls their inventory. So the point I'm trying to make is here, from ancient Egyptian pyramids to our own Sri Lankan heritage sites, they all required very sophisticated management. It means plan, organize, lead, control, that developed naturally before anyone wrote books about it. So don't think management it's all about theory, it's about books. No, historically it's a very old subject, right? Before anyone wrote in the books, we have this management in our bloods, right? So that's the historical context we have to understand. And let's see the definitions of management. Management can be defined from multiple perspectives. So there are different people, they have different perspectives. Someone say it's a strategic approach, someone say it's supervisory, someone say in an organizational manner. So we are going to see this different perspective actually from different famous people, Richard L. Draft, Mary Parker, and Robert Krintner, James A. Stoner, and Ricky W. Griffin. So these people gave definition. So different experts people, they explain in their own words, right? How different people, they might describe the taste of one delicious food differently. And these management experts, they have various ways to explain what management is, right? So let me introduce the first one, Richard L. Daft. So what is he trying to say is the attainment of organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner. So first he is trying to talk about goals, right? So goals are the qualitative area, right, of the business. So organizational goal in an effective and efficient manner. He's talking about effectiveness as well as efficiency manner through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So he's talking about planning, organizing, leading, and controlling of organizational resources. So that's his definition. So the attainment of organizational goals in an effective and efficient manner through the planning and organizing and controlling and leading. That is by Richard L. Daft. That is definition. So in simple words, my dears, imagine, for example, you run a clothing shop in Peta Market. Peta Market, right? Very famous market in Colombo. So management means you successfully achieve your business goal. So business goal in the sense, like, you have the goal like I have to earn 500,000 monthly profit. That's a measurable goal, right? So you have that goal. And by smartly, you are using your resources. Your resources means your shop space, your capital amount, your workers, your time, and how you are utilizing this through proper planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. That's what he's trying to tell. So you are going to achieve your goals in an effective and efficient manner. It means we are not going to use the more resources. We are going to use less resources, but more output. That is efficient, effective, the required quality, right? Through planning, organizing, leading, and controlling our resources. Very simple terms, right? That's what his definition. So it involves efficient and effectiveness, planning, organizing, leading, controlling, and the resources part. And the Mary Parker followed. So he's defining as the art of getting things done through others, right? So he is mentioning management, it's like an art, right? It's not just a subject, it's an art. And getting done through others means you are going to manage the people. So her or she definition, is like, we have to manage the team, the people perspective, right? So in simple terms, think like, you are the owner of a transport company in Kandy area. You don't drive, all the buses yourself. You don't need to drive, right? You get work done through your 30, 40 drivers, 10 conductors, and 5 mechanics. That's management. Achieving the results through other people. You are going to manage these other people and you are going to achieve your goals and objectives. So that's Mary Parker Follett definition. And the Robert Printer, the process of working with and through others to achieve organizational goals. Again, managing others, the process of working with and through others to achieve our organizational goals, our objective in a very changing environment. Changing environments means, always the business environment is dynamic. It always changing internally as well as externally also. So the process of working with and through others to achieve the organizational goals, objectives in a very changing environment. That's definition. So in simple words, for example, you run an Apico supermarket, a branch, right? Just say in goal, the market changes very constantly, right? Sometimes the coconut prices go up. Sometimes there will be a festival rush seasons. Sometimes a new competitor arrive into the market. So you work with your team to adapt to this environment, and still you achieve your sales targets, your profit target. That's management in a changing world. That's about definition of Robert Krintner. And James F. Stoner, A.F. Stoner, what is it trying to say? The process of planning, organizing, leading, controlling. So most of the people are talking about planning, organizing, leading, and controlling in their own definitions of all organizational members, as well as and the usage of other resources to reach specified organizational goals. Again, they're talking about managing the members in the sense employees, as well as they're talking about resources, as well as they're talking about goals here also. So everyone, they are using their own words, but what they're trying to tell is we have to manage the people, we have to manage in a way like planning, organizing, and leading and controlling, and we have to manage the resources as well as to achieve our organizational goals. That's simply. So planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, most important in a management. And let's say Ricky W. Griffin. So what is it trying to say? A set of activities. Those activities are including planning, organizing, leading, and as well as controlling, directed at organizational resources. Again, the word resources, with the aim of achieving the organizational goals efficiently and effectively. So every person's they're trying to use the word that is efficiency and effectiveness, planning, organizing, leading, control, resources, managing the people, getting done through others. So you got the common idea right now. So we can say almost with all this definition, management is all about achieve our goals and objectives, right? We can say achieve our goals and objectives by managing the resources with a proper planning, organizing, leading, and controlling our resources efficiently and effectively. So this is from all other people definitions. So my dears, now you get an idea. So simply management is all about planning, organizing, leading, and controlling the people as well as resources in an efficient and effective manners to achieve our organizational goals and objectives. That simple it is. Right? And let's move to the 1.3, that is the nature of management. What this means? Nature of management. What are the special characteristic that make the management function as a unique? That's the nature of management. So management exhibits several key characteristics, right? So what are the several key characteristics? The first one, that is purpose driven. For example, my dears, you are doing some small bakery, okay, in Jaffna area, and you transform that small bakery in your Jaffna into a chain of 15 bakeries in northern province. 15 bakeries now. You have done in such a manner, you have managed properly, right? So what are the key characteristics of your management? How you have done that? The first one is that is purpose driven or purpose driven. Always focuses on achieving organizational goals through efficient and effective resource utilization, right? So always we have to achieve our goals as well as our objectives. We can say our objectives also. We are trying to achieve the organizational goals in a manner efficient. It means we are not going to waste more resources. We are going to use as minimum resources to get the most output in a quality way that is effective, resource utilization. So that is purpose driven. So management always have a clear goal, my dears. In a management, you are having what you are going to do. So you have a goal in your mind, right? Clear goal. For example, your bakery example, you don't just bake randomly, right? You had a clear purpose. For example, your goal is we have to serve fresh bread to 500 families daily. I have to earn 2 million monthly, and I will employ 50 people from our community. So every management decision, my dears, it's focused on these goals, right? Our 2 million monthly income goal, our 50 people employment job goal, 500 families daily, serving. That is always purpose driven. So if you are purpose driven, you are doing a good management. That is one of the key characteristics. And the resource coordination. So you are going to integrate physical, financial, as well as human resources. Physical resources means the resources you can see with your own eyes. Financial, the money resources. Human, your workers, your employees, your stakeholder management. So these are the resources, right? So resources mean the man, machine, money, material, right? Time, information, everything is a resource. So you are bringing together different resources to work as one for your goal. They are going to work for your goal. For example, for your bakery example, you coordinated, right? The physical resources, like, for the bakery, what are the physical resources? You have your delivery vans, your shop spaces. You have utilized the most shop spaces very neatly, your oven systems. And financial resources, you have coordinated with the bank loans, daily cash flows, because we have to pay the salaries, we have to buy vegetables, we have to buy, some ingredients for your restaurant or bakery. So daily cash flow you have coordinated, and your investment funds, right? As well as the human resources, right? The bakers, drivers, shop assistants, accountants. So the resource coordination, financial resources, human resources, as well as physical resources, you are coordinating. The resource coordination will be there. That's one of the key characteristic of a management. And third one, it is a continuous process, my dears. Just like business, management is not a one-time task. Okay, I will manage only one time and I will forget about that. Only one time I will plan, or I will plan only one time organization, one time coordination, one time control. No, that's not management. It is an ongoing activities that never cease. You are going to do planning, you are going to do organizing, leading, controlling, and you will identify, in the control stage whether it worked or not. Our planning is achieved in a manner, we have expected or not. Then again you do plan, organize, lead, control, plan, organize, lead, control, repeat the cycle. That's a continuous process. Management never stops. It goes on 24 hours 7 days, right? Even as a restaurant owner, you sleep. Management continues, my dears. Night shift workers, they, you will find night shift people for the bakery. So they prepare the morning bread. And security guards, they protect the shops. And automated ovens, they maintain the temperature. It flows continuously. That's a continuous process. That is a key characteristic of a management. And the universal application. What is that universal application? Every organization needs management globally. Not only your neighbor shop, international businesses like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, everyone. So it is important to every organization, regardless of their mission, size, or culture. There can be a simple small businesses. Sometimes they can be a giant $1 trillion economy businesses. So it is important to every organization in the world, regardless of their mission or size or the culture they are following. It is universal. A single three-wheeler driver in Kandy area, they need management, right? The large-scale businesses like Dialog, they have massive telecommunication network, they need management. Like profit organization, the commercial bank, their branches, they need management. Even non-profit organization like Buddhist temple, they are managing the services. All need management. Not only it is not only applicable for the profit-oriented business or non-profit oriented business or government business or non-governmental business. No, everyone. It is a universal application. That's a key characteristics. And group effort facilitation. work through individual groups to achieve objectives. That means we are working with small groups within our departments, with our department head, with our leaders, right? Team leaders. So group effort facilitation should be there. Management, it helps people work together. For example, imagine the Kandi Perahara situations, my dears. Imagine the Kandi Perahara, very famous in our area. So hundred of dancers, hundred of drummers, elephant, right? Handles all working together, right? In a perfect harmony. That's what good management does. It creates, like a harmony among the diverse groups working toward a common goals. That is group effort facilitation. And the dynamic process, it adapts and changes over time. It's not a fixed thing, right? According to the environment, according to the situation, you will adapt, you will change. It's very dynamic process. Management adapts and changes constantly over the time. Think about the COVID-19. When COVID-19 came, sometimes your restaurant in Colombo area had quickly adapt. You know, Before you did only dine in, right? In the restaurant, people have to come and dine in. So your focus is dine in service. But during pandemic service, you understood the situation. No one is going to come to your restaurant. So you arrange home delivery and you focused, instead of dine in, you have focused in takeaway because you have adapted. That is a dynamic process. So you have adapted the situation and dynamically you have planned, organized, lead and controlled. Right after that, you are focusing on hybrid model now. Okay, delivery service is also available, dine-in service is also available. So the management is evolved with the changing circumstances. You will adapt and changes over time. That's one of the key characteristics. And as I mentioned earlier also, it's an art and science, right? To manage the people, to manage the resources efficiently, effectively, to achieve your organizational goals as well as objectives, you need creativity, you need skills, you need experiences. That's what we are saying, that it's an art, my dear. While based on systematic observations and methods, that's science, right? Systematically, you are going to work as well as you are going to use your creativity, skills, and experiences. That's what we are telling. This is not only an art, this is also a science, right? So, management needs both the creativity as well as some systematic methods, right? For example, you know, you are doing a boutique shop in Candy City Center, KCC, right? So you design the layout of your shop. You use your creativity, your intuition, right? You're sensible. That's an art. As well as science, you calculate the profit margins, analyze your sales data, and you are planning your inventory, and you use it systematically, right? That is scientific methods, right? So, my dears, management is like, preparing a traditional Sri Lankan curry. You need both the artistic touch, how much spicy Sri Lankan people need, the cooking intuition, as well as scientific precision, like exact measurements, timing, temperature, right? So that is what we are telling, the management is an art and science. So the management exhibits several key characteristics here: the purpose driven, resource coordination, and continuous process, universal application, group effort facilitation, and dynamic process, as well as it's an art and science. So that is about nature of management, or the characteristics, key characteristics of management. And let's move to the 1.4, that is a role of management. What this means? It means, my dears, what exactly does management do for the organizations, for our company? As you know, we are planning, we are organizing, we are controlling, and we are leading, right? So, according to F.W. Taylor, management is an art of knowing what is to be done and seeing that it is done in the best possible manner. So, he's mentioning a management is an art, and that art of knowing what is to be done, and we have to get it done in the best possible manner with efficient as well as effectiveness. That's what the role of management, right? So the art of knowing what is to be done and seeing that it is done in the best possible way. So in simple word, my dears, you know you know exactly what need to be done. For example, you have to produce a very purest coconut oil in the oat region. So that to be done, right? So you ensure it was done perfectly. How? You are training your workers in the traditional, extraction methods of coconut oil, quality checking in every batch of coconut, maintaining, hygiene standards better than your competitors. So that is according to F.W. Taylor. And according to Harold Kuntz, the art of getting things done through and with people, formally organized groups, creating environment where people can perform and cooperate toward goal attainment. So according to his definition, the role of management is it's an art of getting things done. How? Through with the people in formally organized groups, creating an environment where people can perform and cooperate toward goal attainment. So it is according to Harold Kuntz. So simply what he is trying to tell, you don't try to do everything alone, right? Instead, you can organize some workers, right, into specialized teams. You can create a very positive environment with fair wages and respect, right? You are establishing a clear roles for everyone, and you are allocating the task. You build a cooperation between the different departments. So that's the role, according to Harold Kuntz. And the management it serves, right? Management it serves to move organizations toward their purposes, right? As I mentioned earlier, every organization they have different purposes, right? For example, you are taking over your father's business like a hardware shop. You know, it was very barely surviving stage. So you are now managing properly with your plan, with your organization, with your leading, with your control. Through the proper management, you moved it toward your purpose of becoming the largest hardware supplier in southern province. So the management always move organization toward their purposes, right? So how they are moving to their purposes? Simply assign activities for organizational members, right? We are assigning activities. Like for example, you know, if you are running some kind of garment factory in Katunayaka area, very famous. Katunayaka is very famous for garment factories. That's a garment zone actually. You are assigning the activities for your organizational team people. So in a garment cutting team, they handle the fabric cutting, and sewing team they manage the stitching, and quality team they check the finished products, so is it according to the required quality. And there is a packing team, they are prepares for the export, right? Packing. So you are assigning activities for organizational members and utilize the resources efficiently as well as effectively. So we will learn about this efficiency and effectiveness in a later, right, sessions. But you have to utilize your resources very efficiently as well as effectively. It means, for example, if you are doing taxi services in Colombo area and you are using GPS systems to track their services, so you are minimizing the fuel waste, right? Because you know which way it is efficient, and you are ensuring your customer is satisfied because GPS is telling okay which area having more traffic and which area is no traffic, right? That is effectiveness. So you are optimizing your drivers routes and schedules, right? That is utilizing the resources efficiently as well as effectively, and create organizational structure. So if you are doing proper management, it will serve you to create organizational structure. What does this mean by organizational structure? Who is the head, right? Who is working under who is responsible for what, who is accountable for what task? That is organizational structure. For example, if you are running a beauty salon chain, you have a clear structure, right? You are a general manager yourself, and you have branch managers. For one each location, you have branch managers. And for your beauty salon, there are senior beauticians, junior beauticians, receptionists. So you are putting in an organizational structure, right? And the fifth one, facilitate problem solving and decision making. Every management it serves facilitating in problem solving as well as in decision making. How? For example, if you are running a restaurant, Maria, you faced a shortage of fish during the very rough seas areas. There is no there's a demand for fish, but there's no supply. So you have a shortage of fish. So your management, they have to quickly identify the alternative sources, right? Alternative protein sources. They have to negotiate with some inland suppliers. They have to adjust the menu temporarily. They have to communicate this to customers. That is problem solving and decision making. So these are the things you have to know, how the role of management it serves, right? According to people definitions, also according to common things. So that's what introduction to management. So my dears, we have to understand, without management, even the most talented individuals also, like a brilliant people, musicians, right? No, they cannot survive. Even a very famous people, they need management. Otherwise, they have to do this with other people who are very expert, right? So that's the introduction to management part of your first unit. And let's move to organizational resources and assets. So let's learn about these concepts in a quick manner. We are going to study in this second section. 2.1 is about the 7M's framework, and 2.2 is about resources versus assets. Right? It seems like resources and assets are same, but in fact, different things. So let's see the 7M's framework. Organizational inputs for producing goods and services are categorized as the 7M's. So here what we are talking about, we are talking about the organizational inputs. It means the resources to produce goods and services. We are just categorizing this as 7M's, right? 7M's means, about manpower, and we are talking about money, machines, right? Machinery systems, and materials, right? And methods, how to do some things, and management time or minutes, the time, as well as we are talking about market, it means opportunity. So these are the 7M's of organizational resources, my dear. So man, machine, method, money, markets, minutes, right? So you have to know what are the 7M's. So man, money, machine, material, method, management, and market. It means the opportunities. So my dears, you have to understand the organizational resources in the sense, it's like a building blocks. Every organization, they need to succeed, right? So for example, if you want to make a perfect plate of rice and curry, you know you need specific ingredients, right, to make that. Like this, every organization, they need some specific resources to operate successfully. So the 7M frameworks, the 7 essential ingredients in every organization and needs, these are 7 ingredients, right? So let's see the man, the human resources, right? So the human resources and labor, we are talking about human resources as well as labor. As you know, your workforce, your employees, the people who make everything happen, that is your employees. That's what one of the resources, the main resource in 7Ms, right? So in your business, you have cashiers, like 4 trained staff for the billing. You have inventory stock boys, 3 young men for the shelf management. You have 2 security guards for the safety. You have 1 qualified chartered accountant for the finance, and you have manager to oversee the business operations. So you have your workforce. So without the right people, even the best businesses, they can't run it. That is human resource, my dears. And the seven M's, the second category is money. It means the financial capital and the funding, the money resource, finance resource, financial capital. It's the fuel that keeps the business engine running. That's money. You know, you need a proper financial planning, my dears. For example, your initial investment, you're thinking like I'm going to invest 5 million from my family savings. I'm going to take 10 million from commercial bank for my business expansion, right? I need a 2 million for the daily operations, working capital, and you are allocating 1 million for the unexpected expenses, emergency fund. So that is finance. How, where you are going to take the finance and how much you have liquidity. It means how much you have cash. So, Keel supermarket. When Keels open a new supermarket, they need crores of rupees, my dears. You see this Cargill's, not Cargill's, John Keel's, Keel's supermarket. Always they are having huge parking area. They need crores of money. Everything, for everything from building, rent to initial stock. So that is money, finance capital. That's the second resources in 7Ms. And machines, these are equipments as well as the technology you are using, right? Equipment and technology, the tools and technology that make our work easier as well as faster. For example, for your restaurant or your systems, if you're doing a restaurant business or any other business, sometimes you need point of sale system, POS, point of sale systems. Means, imagine, in the Cargill's Food City, they have in the cashier point of sale system, right? They will scan the barcode and automatically at that time the inventories are getting reduced as well as it's the same time in the real time they're updating the inventory records as well as the financial statements as well. So that is equipment and technology, the point of sale system. Sometimes you will have some for modern cash registers. You have refrigeration, like the cold rooms for dairy items, some frozen foods. You are having shelving, right? Metal shelving systems for organized display. You have delivery van for the stock transportation. You have CCTV system for security monitoring. You are having air conditioning for customer comfort. So, my dears, it's emissions and equipment. These are the resources. From a roadside banana vendors, they needed just a simple scale. But Arpico supermarkets, the machines and equipment they need, sophisticated barcode scanners, inventory management systems. So every business, it's a resource. And materials, it means the raw materials and supplies. If you are a manufacturing business, you need a raw materials to process your production and get the finished product, right? The actual products and supplies needed to serve the customers. For example, you know, for your restaurant business, you need food items, right? Rice, spices, vegetables, fruits, those are material. Like also, for a household goods, you need soaps, detergents, cleaning supplies in the washroom so customers can use it. And you need stationery items, pens, books, papers, right? You need packaging materials, bakes, wrapping papers, and some maintenance supplies, cleaning materials for the shop. So these are the materials, the raw materials and supplies, right? And the methods, the processes, as well as the procedures. That also one of the main resources. The resource at Digital Accounting Private Limited. In our company, my dears, the main resources is our method. How we are processing. This much of heavy load, you are just seeing this screen sharing, my dears, but the work we are putting to bring to you, right? It is unimaginable, right? The team, they are working day and night for my decisions, for my orders, creating images, pictures to make you understandable, right? The topic understandable. That's our core strategy. That is our core resources, the method, how we are doing as a single person, how he is managing these entire subjects. That is our method, our process, our procedures, right? We came for this with a learning of 5 to 6 years. For this speed, for this much of resources, for this much of speed, it took us 5 to 6 years to come to this position. Otherwise, we are just average people in this tuition industry. But the method, the process, that is our core resource. The step-by-steps ways of doing the things in a proper manner, right? So, for example, for your restaurant example, you will receive the stock. You have the procedure, right? You will check the delivery. You will verify the quantities. You will update the GRNs, right? And the customer service, you have process. You greet warmly. You assist finding the items. You process the billing efficiently, very quickly. This is your customer service process. And cash handling method also you have. You count carefully the cashes, give correct change, and you are securing the money correctly. And you have closing procedures. You have to count the stock after you finish after you close the shop. You have to secure the premises. You have to prepare for the next day's plan. That is the methods, right? That is also resources, as well as the management of time or minutes. The time management, time is one of the most valuable resources in this world. You have to use the time very wisely as well as efficiently, my dears. Otherwise, you cannot survive in this world, right? For your restaurants, you have to set an opening time. Okay, every 6 a.m. I'm going to open for the early customers. So the people, very early morning people, they will come. So the opening time you are fixing, okay, 6 a.m. That's you are managing your time. And in the peak hours, 7 to 9 a.m., right? That is a peak hours. As well as 6 to 8 p.m. That is a peak hours normally in a restaurant. So you have to get the maximum staffs. That is, you are managing the time. And also you have to rotation for the lunch rotation. Staff, take turns. So shop never closes for the lunchtime. And you are having inventory time. Every Sunday you are taking stock counting. You are managing your time. And training time, 2 hours every weekly. You are doing skill development for your employees. CTB, right? CTB, Ceylon Transport Board, they follow strict time schedules, right? Time schedules times, departure times. That's matter for the passengers. So that is the resource, as well as the market, the opportunities, market opportunities and positioning. Right? What this means? Understanding the customers. Market in the sense simply customers. How many customers you have? That is your market. So understanding the customers and positioning your business in a very correctly manner. For example, you understood from your restaurant business ideas, okay, this is my target customers. Like for example, middle class families within 2 kilometers radius area for your physical shop. That is your target customer. And your positioning, market positioning is like, I'm going to position myself as a neighborhood supermarket with city quality products like that. For example, supermarket. Otherwise, very neat and fresh restaurant with a quality food like that. And the competitive advantage. So you are opening your shop for the long hours. You are giving credit facilities for the regular customers like that, right? As well as the market timing also. You're making that as an opportunity. For example, in the Ramadan nights, you are doing some special shopping needs, right? You are opening for that, and you are taking the location advantage. You are having your shop, near bus stop and school for the easy accesses. So, my dears, that's market. Your market is one of the resources. So you have to understand these are the 7 M's, the 7 resources: man, money, machines, materials, methods, management of time, market. So these are the organizational inputs for producing goods and services, right? That is the 7 M's framework. I hope so. You understood clearly. And let's talk about a little bit about resources versus assets. Normally, my dears, in accounting also, you might study about, right, the assets are like, these are the present economic resources that is controlled by the organization due to the past events. That is the asset definition. But in business, resources are something different as well as assets are something different. So you have to understand the difference, what you use and what you own. That's something different, right? What you use and what you own is something different. My dears, for example, these resources, these resources are like the ingredients you buy to cook, while the assets are like the valuable items you own that, then it can help you to make money, right? So let's understand the resources. As I mentioned earlier, the resources we can say man, money, machines, materials, methods, minutes, or time, or market opportunities, that are resources. I'll give you you can see in the book also. The resources are man, money, machine, material, method, minutes, market. That is the 7M's criteria, the 7M criteria. The assets are, that is you own. See, the reputation is your asset, not the resource, as per business management theories. The reputation you are having. You know, for example, your restaurant, my dears, it's known for the best biryani in your candy area. So customers pay premium prices. That is your asset. You own that. It creates value. Market, right? For example, market, we can say that's an asset as well as it is actually in the resource area also. It means in the resource market opportunities. Here I'm talking about market in the sense, you know for example, you have exclusive contracts with 3 hotels, so your monthly income is guaranteed. That is assets, you own it. As well as the royalty, so you have very signature recipe for traditional sweets, right? So that's the royalty you have. And the debtors, debtors, those are assets, right? So these are the assets. So let's compare this, then only you can understand it very clear manner. My dears, what we are trying to convey here, the resources are inputs used. The word is important here. Resources are the inputs used for the production, while assets represent value and competitive advantage. So resources are the items, the man, machine, material, money, method, everything. Those are inputs used for the production. Assets represent the value and the competitive advantage. Competitive advantage means easily your competitors cannot imitate it, right? So that's the difference between the assets as well as the resources. So my dears, you have to understand the man. For example, you have 5 cooks, 3 servers, 2 delivery boys. That man, your daily use, right? 25,000 daily wages for all the people. Money, for example, the cash you are having, right? For purchasing the ingredient daily, you are using that money. So daily usage is there. Resources we are going to use daily. Machines also we are using daily, right? Cooking equipment, delivery van, and also it will cost fuel, maintenance cost also there. Materials, you are daily using your rice, your vegetables, your spices, gas. So daily you are going to incur 20,000 rupees. So you are using daily usage. So resources always daily usage. And method also, your recipes, your serving procedures, your customer service procedures, daily you are using. So you are going to give time, training. Methods also, right? As I said earlier, minutes, cooking time, delivery schedules, right? So every time you are using the time. Market, wedding halls, office canteens, right? So you are building relationship in your market. You are daily using that. But asserts, reputation. As I mentioned earlier, for the best biryani in candy area. And the market, like exclusive contracts. So here the market means contracts with 3 hotels like that. You are guaranteed monthly income. So you create value from that. Royalty and debtors, regular customers with credit accounts, those are you own. So you're not going to use that to create usage. So simply we can say resources are daily usage items, as well as assets are creating value items. That's the simple sense, right? For example, you see a 3-wheeler on the road, my dears. The fuel is a resource because it's get consumed every day. But the three-wheeler, it's an asset because it generate income for the years. It's creating the value. Think about Dialogue. Dialogue company, their resources are the electricity for the towers because they are daily using this. Their technician salaries, their equipment maintenance, those are resources because daily consumption. But assets, they have telecommunication license, tower location, brand reputation, customer database. Those are assets they are owning. It's creating the value, right? I hope so you understood the difference between the resources as well as assets. So the resources are the inputs used daily for the productions or services, but assets are representing creating the value, creating the competitive advantage. That's your owning, right? So I hope so you understood about the organizational resources as well as assets. So now you know the introduction of management, planning, organizing, leading, controlling the resources efficiently and effectively for what? To achieve the organizational goals and objectives. And now you know the difference between the resources as well as assets. It seems like same, but resources are something different and assets are something different. And now let's move to the organizational purpose. So now we are going to talk about the purposes. My dears, when I'm trying to tell you the definition of managements, every organization they have their goals, objectives, and purpose. So we are going to categorize that. The definition, organizational purpose represents the end results expected to be achieved within a given time period. It means the desired status at the period's conclusion. So simply, my dears, the purpose means the end results expected. What you are expecting at the end of the process. And you have given a time period of time, the period of time to achieve that status. So simply, the organizational purpose is at the end of this particular time, what I'm going to achieve, your desired status, that is organizational purpose. It means why organizations exist and what they want to achieve, right? So what this means, my dears, just like how you have personal goals, right? Passing your AAT exams, passing this business management subjects, getting a good job, buying a house, buying a car. That's like organization also, they have the purpose, the desired status, what they want to achieve, right? So that's the definition. So organizational purpose is like your destination. When you plan your trip from Colombo to Trinco, it's where you want to be at the end of your journey, right? Trinco. Like that. For example, you open a small shop in 2015 and you wrote down exactly what you wanted to achieve by 2025, 10 years time. Okay, after 10 years you are writing, okay, I want to own 10 shops across the northern province. I want to employ 50 people from my community. I want to earn 5 million monthly profit. I want to known as the most trusted retailer in Jaffna area. So these are your desired status, your purpose. So without clear purposes, my dears, managing an organization is like, you are driving a three-wheeler without knowing your destination, like that, without a purpose. You will use the fuel, but you won't reach anywhere meaningful. So every organization must have a purpose, why they exist. And let's classify that purpose, right? We are going to classify based on some criteria, what are the purposes they are having. So one, and let me number it, 3 and 4. So based on importance, based on criteria, based on time duration, and based on smart categories. So let's take this image here. Right. So now, based on importance, we are going to classify our purpose. So the based on importance, my dears, we have primary purpose as well as secondary purpose. So because some purposes are more critical than others, that's primary. So the primary purpose are must be achieved for organizational survival, my dears. At least you want to be in the business, you have to achieve this. That is survival, right? Must, it's a must thing. That's what it's in the primary. The focus should be given primarily. So must be achieved for organizational survival. Example, the improvement, the existence. You must achieve. No excuses. Right? Like, these are like oxygen for the humans. Absolutely essential for the survival. Without oxygen, humans cannot survive, right? Like that, without achievement of this, the business cannot survive. For example, you can set your objective like survival and growth. You have to keep all the shops profitable and expanding. Your primary purpose is going to be with customer satisfaction. For example, you maintain 95% customer return rate and quality maintenance, never sell expired or substandard products. So these are your primary purpose. So without this, you cannot survive. And secondary purposes means like enhance the primary purpose, right? It will enhance your primary purpose achievement. To achieve the survival, you are doing quality increasement, innovation generation, prestige, improvement. Those are your secondary purposes, right? So secondary purposes like, for example, oxygen, it's like an, what do you call, primary purpose in humans. Like that secondary, like vitamins, they enhance the primary purpose. But they're not immediately critical for our survival. Vitamins you can take or not. For example, for the businesses, quality enhancements. So for your restaurants, you are introducing organic product lines. You are doing some innovation like online ordering systems. You are doing some prestige building like sponsor local cricket team. And you are doing some community service like providing free supplies during emergencies. So my dears, these are enhance the primary purpose. So for Keel supermarket, environmental production through reducing the plastic usage is a secondary purpose. So, because it enhances the main business, but it's not critical for the immediate survival, right? That is secondary purpose. So, according to the importance, right? First, we have to achieve what? The primary and secondary. And based on criteria, right? So, based on criteria in the sense, we are going to categorize economic purpose as well as non-economic purpose. The purpose can be based on criteria. We can have economic purpose as well as non-economic purpose. So economic purpose means results from economic activities like profits from your sales. Those are economically, you have economic purpose. It means the results that can be measured in rupees, right? In dollars. For example, your profit target. You have a monthly 500,000 profit target. That is economic purpose. Your sales volume. So you are assuming, okay, 10,000 kilograms or 10,000 bottles we have to sell. That is your economic purpose, financial purpose. And okay, you are thinking about, capture the 25 percentage Kurunagala district market. That is economic purpose. And you are thinking about 20 percentage increase in your annual revenue. That is economic purposes. So results from economic activities, from your economic activities like production, distribution, marketing, everything is an economic activities. And non-economic is socially and morally important results. That is your non-economic purposes. That is your welfare, satisfaction, right? Your innovations. So these are non-economic benefits, non-economic purposes. right? So socially and morally important results, like example, the welfare, the satisfactions, the innovations. So those are my ideas, non-economic purposes. So these are the valuables, that results that can't be measured in money, but also it is important for the society as well as for the morality. Those are some non-economic purposes. For example, your employee welfare. So you are providing health insurance for all of your workers. That is non-economic purpose. And you are maintaining 98% customer satisfaction rating. You are supporting for the local development, environmental production, innovation. So those are non-economic purposes. So according to the criteria also, we can classify as an economic purpose as well as non-economic purpose. And based on time duration, right? So based on time duration also, we can classify as short-term purposes as well as long-term purposes, right? Some goals, my dears, it's like quick sprints, right? Like others are long-term marathons. So short-term purposes means it is less than 1 year. You have your purpose, you have to achieve less than 1 year. Like quick wins that can be achieved very soon. Like, you are preparing for the next month's exams. That is short-term purpose, right? For example, if you are running a beauty salon, your short-term purpose is like monthly targets, serve 500 customers monthly, and you have some seasonal goals like 50% revenue increase, during the wedding season, like that. Immediate needs. You have to train 2 new beauticians for the next month, and some quick improvements like installing the new AC systems before the summer times. Those are short-term purposes. And long-term purposes, more than 10 years time, like a huge purposes, right? Big dreams that take time to achieve. Like, for example, becoming a doctor, becoming an engineers, becoming a chartered accountants, big dreams, right? For example, for your salon business, beauty salon business, your expansion vision, you're thinking like opening 20 branches across all provinces by 2035. That is your expansion vision, more than 10 years plan. And you are trying to become an industry leadership. For example, become a Sri Lanka's most recognized beauty brand. For example, digital accounting, if we have a most recognizable brand for the AAT education, it's a long term ideas. We have to put our effort, heart and soul for that, to become a most recognized brand, to industry leadership, and some innovational goal, right? And some legacy. So those are long term purposes based on the time duration. And based on smart characteristics also, we can categorize it, right? So here, my dears, we have goals as well as objectives. Go smart goals means those are smart results achieved within definite time periods. Smart means there's a criteria, right? You know, the purpose should be specific and measurable and achievable and relevant and also time bound, right? So smart results achieved within defined time periods. And objectives are long-term expected results, not necessarily smart, right? For example, your goals should have smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. But objectives are long-term. It not necessarily be, very specific, very measurable. It doesn't mean. So goals, my dears, we can say one example is, it's a purpose. Like, for example, you are doing a taxi service business, you have smart goals. The S for specific. For example, increase your daily income from the taxi services. And measurables from current rupees 8,000 to rupees 12,000, daily. You are going to increase your daily income. That is measurable. And that is achievable. Based on the market research you have done a demand analysis. Yes, it is possible. As well as the relevancy, it fits with your long term vision also. The relevancy, as well as it is time bound. You are going to Give a time that is okay, I'm going to achieve by December 31st, 2025 or 2035. That is SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Right? And the long-term expected results are objectives. It doesn't necessarily to be fit with the, SMART. For example, it's very broader, very long-term aspirations. Right? We cannot have exact measurements. Right? For example, you are saying, okay, I'm going to live a good life. What this mean? What does this mean by good life? We can't say, right? So the broader objectives like industry leadership, becoming a respected name in the transportation or education, provide employment for the local youth, be known for reliability and punctuality. So these are some long-term expected results. It necessarily no need to be in the SMART principles. We will learn about SMART criteria later. So these are the classification purposes. So you know now about much more about purposes, right? So purposes are expected results. We are giving some time to achieve it. It can be classified as, based on importance, criteria, time, and based on SMART characteristic, which is, having SMART characteristic like goals, which doesn't necessary to be SMART characteristic. So you have to know this knowledge about organizational purposes, right? And let's move to talk about efficiency as well as effectiveness, right? So efficiency and effectiveness, both are different words, my dears. There's something efficiency and something effectiveness. We will learn about the relationship between efficiency and effectiveness. And there is an impact metrics on organizational success, right? And balancing the efficiency and effectiveness. That also one of the important thing, right? So let's talk about the efficiency first. So what this means by this term efficiency? Normally we use in daily life, right? Efficiency and as well as the effectiveness. These are two magic words. That's the thing that separate the successful organization from some struggling businesses, right? For example, my dears, imagine you're going to Colombo. We are going from Colombo to Kandy. Imagine, okay? Efficiency is taking the shortest route with the least fuel. That is efficiency. Effectiveness means is actually reaching the Kandy. That's the effectiveness. That is your end quality result. But efficiency, how you are going to achieve that with the least cost, with the shortest cost possible. You need both to be truly successful. You have to be efficient as well as you have to be effectiveness, right? So let's talk about efficiency. Obtaining maximum outputs using minimum resources in achieving goals and objectives. So you are going to obtain maximum outputs and you are using minimum resources in achieving goals and objectives. So you are going to get the highest outputs with a minimum resources. That is called efficiency, right? It's like, being a smart housewife. You make delicious meals for the whole family using minimal ingredients and spending the least money, right? Like that. That is efficiency. And according to Peter Drucker, efficiency is doing things right. Efficiency is doing things right. That is according to Peter Drucker, right? For example, you are opening a, rice and curry business. You focused very obsessively on efficiency. So your resource management, right? You bought vegetables directly from Dambula market, very famous market. You bought vegetables directly from Dambula market. So you are cut the middleman cost. So that is efficiency. And you used every part of the vegetables, no wastage. Even potato peels, you are using for any other ingredients. Efficiency. And you have trained staff to serve exact portions. So no over serving, right? And you have used energy efficient cooking methods. You have negotiated with your suppliers for the bulk discounts. That is efficiency. Efficiency is doing things right. And there is a formula to calculate the efficiency. The formula is something like this, my dears. The amount of utilized resources divided by the amount of allocated resources. It means the amount of allocated resources means the full resources you have allocated for that particular task or for a particular department, and the amount of utilized resources for that. And you have to times this by 100 to get the efficiency number, right? That simple formula. So the efficiency is the utilized resources, the amount of, the amount of utilized resources divided by amount of allocated resources, right? Times by 100. So that's the formula of the efficiency. And we will see in the questions how it is how they are testing. And the characteristics of efficiency, these are the four characteristics. The first one is going to be minimum wastage and lowest cost and optimal resource utilization and proper execution method, right? So the first one is minimum wastage. What this means? Minimum wastage means, right? For example, in your restaurant, you have a policy like zero food wastage policy, right? You know, your vegetable scraps went to compost. You use the cooking oil, sold to shop manufacturers. Shop manufacturers are using the cooking oil, right? Even broken rice, fed to the chickens, right? Leftover rice become the fried rice next day, right? So you are minimizing the wastages. That is efficiency. And the lowest cost. If you are in efficient manner, you are having the lowest cost, right? For example, your competitors, they paid rupees 80 per kilogram for your onions for the feta market. But you negotiated with suppliers in Dambulla markets or Dambulla farmers directly, and you are buying for rupees 65. So almost 19 percentage, right? Savings, cost savings. And optimal resource utilization, that is in efficiency, optimal resource utilization, right? So you are utilizing your resources in very optimal manner. For example, in peak hours like 12 to 2 p.m., all 6 staffs are working. In slow hours like 3 to 5 p.m., only 2 staffs are working. Others do the preparation works. And evening rush time, full team is working again. Like that, you have optimum usage of the resources and proper execution methods, right? Proper execution methods. Sometimes your restaurant serves standardized cooking. You each curry, it serves exactly for 40 people, each curry pot. And cooking time precisely for 45 minutes. And standard recipe cards for consistency. And quick checks every 30 minutes. So that is proper execution method. So these are the characteristics that you are having efficiency. So you are having minimum wastage and lowest cost and optimal resource utilization and proper execution methods. These are the characteristics of efficiency. That is 4.1. Right? And let's talk about effectiveness. Right? So effectiveness means the capability of producing desired results or the ability to produce desired output. That is effectiveness. That's a capability of producing desired results or the ability to produce the desired output. Actually, you are achieving the results you want, right? It doesn't mean you are going to achieve this in a least cost or high cost. You have to achieve your results you want, right? So, according to Peter Drucker, doing the right thing is effectiveness, right? So you have to understand the different ideas. In efficiency, we are saying that according to Peter Drucker, efficiency is doing things right. Doing things right is efficiency. Doing the right thing is effectiveness. Right? For example, you open a spicy garden restaurant and you focused completely on effectiveness. It means what? The quality. For example, customer satisfaction is your focus, not the cost minimization. Right? So you served with authentic, delicious Sri Lankan curries. And your customers often said like best fish in Goal area. Right? Always crowded with satisfied customers. High customer return rate. Every customer's 80% comeback. Strong word of mouth recommendation. That is effectiveness. Doing the right thing is effectiveness. Right? So for example, your goal is like, become the most popular restaurant in Goal area within 6 months. So if viewed it effectiveness, your daily customers 200. The target was 150, but you have achieved 200. Your target was customer satisfaction is 85%. Now you have achieved 95%. Your revenue target is just 300,000, but now it is 400,000 monthly. Right? So now your reputation also increased, right? In travel blocking, they have mentioned as a must visit restaurants. That is effectiveness. So effectiveness relates to the output quality and the goal achievement. It's not about the cost minimization or cost cutting. Right? So, my dears, when you visit the Cargills, they might spend more on premium store locations, right? And also some high quality displays. But that is less efficient. Why they have to put premium store location, premium high quality displays? No one is going to buy, but they attract more customers and it's achieving higher sales, more effective. Not efficient, but effective. So efficient is all about cost minimization and utilizing the less resources. Effectiveness is achieving it with any cost with a quality, right? So there is a relationship between efficiency and effectiveness, right? So that relationship is simply, inputs to transformation process to outputs. In inputs, you have to give efficiency. Transformation process, you have to give the management, as well as in, for the outputs, you have to give your, what do you call, the effectiveness. So your input should have efficient, your transformation process should have a proper management, your output with effectiveness, that means with the quality, right? So what this means, it means how these two concepts work together in organization. Think like efficiency and effectiveness like two wheels of a bicycle. You need both, right? To ride a bicycle, you need two wheels. You need both them working together to move forward smoothly, right? You need efficiency in inputs and proper management in process and effectiveness in your outputs, in your products and services. So inputs mean, my dears, for example, when you are purchasing your systems, you have to minimize your cost. You have to have efficient staff scheduling to reduce your wage cost. You have to have some, automated inventory management to reduce your wastages. You have to have a strategic supplier relationship to lower prices. That is input. So you have to have an efficiency in your input process. And think about the transformation process. You have to have a proper management, right? You have to have, trained staff to provide good service, quality control to ensure the freshness, efficient checkout process, clean and organized store layouts, and effectiveness. That's all about the output. The customer satisfaction is achieved, sales targets met or exceeded, market share is maintained, profitability goals are accomplished, right? So we need efficiency and effectiveness to run our businesses. We can't be just efficient and lose the effectiveness, or we just be effectiveness and spending money without any purposes. No, we have to get both of this, right? So the impact metrics on organizational success: high efficiency, high effectiveness. Let's talk about this in this. If you have in your business like high effectiveness with a high efficiency, that is in the growth stage. Situation B, it means resources preserved and purpose fulfilled, short and long term success. Right? Your resources are preserved, it means your resources, you are utilizing the minimum resources for the maximum output, you have high efficiency, as well as your purpose is fulfilled as you want. So resources preserved and purpose is fulfilled, the stage high effectiveness and with a high efficiency, you are in the growth, and you will have short term and long term success as well. So this is something, my dears, what happens when you combine, when you combine your efficiency and effectiveness, right? Different levels, right? So let's talk about the B situation, because that's the ideal situation for people: high efficiency and high effectiveness. For example, I'll tell you some, efficiency example. You are having high efficiency. For example, you know, you have smart supplier negotiation. So you reduced your cost by 15 percentage, and you have very efficient kitchen workflow management for your restaurant. So you minimize the wastage. You have very strategic staff scheduling, so you are optimizing the labor cost, and you have very energy efficient equipment. It is reduced your utility bills, electricity bills. So you are in high efficiency, as well as you are in the high effectiveness, like have excellent food quality with the restaurant. So you achieved your customer satisfaction. You have in the strategic location, so it attracted the target customers. You have strong marketing, right? So you achieved your revenue goals. You build a loyal customer base. So you are in the high effectiveness also. So you are actually in the growth stage. The perfect combination. You will grow rapidly. You can open a second branch. You can plan, expansion to another city like Kandy, right? That is high efficiency and high effectiveness. That is situation B. Let's see the situation A, my dears. So the situation A is you are having the low effectiveness. That means in your quality terms, customer satisfaction, loyalty, right? You are low, but you are in high efficiency, but you are cutting the cost and you are utilizing the resources at maximum with a minimal cost. What you are doing, you are dying slowly. Your business is dying. It's dying slowly, right? For example, in your restaurant, okay, a different example. You have minimal food cost. You are having high efficiency, minimal food cost, because you are very clever in purchase. And you are in the low rent location, not in the prime location, very low rent payment location. As well as you are having very minimal staff to reduce your wages. And you have no wastage policies because high efficiency. But your effectiveness is very low. For example, your food quality was very poor, right? Because you know due to the cheap ingredients, because you are very much focused on the cost high efficiency, your ingredients are very cheap. It's not in quality. Customer satisfaction is very low. You are located in a low paying rent area, so it is in an area with a little food traffic, so you fail to achieve the revenue targets. So your restaurant, my dears, this is in the situation A. It means the resource is preserved. It means you are utilizing the maximum of the resources, but your purpose fulfillment, right? Just think about the A situation. Resources preserved, but purpose is unfulfilled. You didn't achieve the customer satisfaction. You didn't achieve your customer loyalty, your targeted revenue. So the limited long-term success. You can't have the success in the long term. Sometimes you can save some money in the short term, but the long term you don't have it. That is situation A. Right? Die slowly. For example, the restaurants, like situation A restaurants, my dears, they preserved the money well, but failed to attract the customers. They slowly died over 2 years as word spread about the poor quality. Right? So that's it. And let's see you know, the category of a D category. Okay. The D category means, my dears, survival. It means they are having the very low efficiency. They are spending too much. They are not caring about cost cutting. They are not negotiating with the suppliers, but higher effectiveness. They are in the survival stage. Situation D, resources wasted because you are not utilizing properly your staffs, your man, machine, method, money. You are wasting. You don't have a proper planning, but you are achieving your purpose, right? So, for example, the low efficiency means like high ingredient cost. You are buying premium, right? You are buying premium prices, ingredient cost, right? Customers love your portions, but you don't have profit margins. You are in the prime location with a very expensive rent area. You have high, effectiveness. Sorry, low efficiency because you are paying much for the rent, and family business with informal cost controls. You don't have a cost control, so those are low efficiency area, but you have high effectiveness. But how? Because your food is incredible in quality. Customers travels from Colombo to your area to buy your food. You're having high effectiveness, and you have excellent customer service and strong community reputation. You are achieving the revenue and satisfaction goal, but you don't have much profit. So you are in actually survival. You can't grow as a business. You can just survive because whatever you are earning, you are spending too much. That is in survival stage. Situation D, resources wasted but purpose achieved. Short term survival only. In the long term, you can't grow, you can't expand because you don't have money, you don't have savings, only survival. At the same time, my dears, the C category is die quickly. You don't have effectiveness, you don't have efficiency also. Low efficiency, low effectiveness. That is die quickly situation. You are in low efficiency. It means you are spending too much. Expensive premium location with a high payment of rent amount. Overstaffing. Because even in the slow period also there is staffs, they are not working, overstaffing. And food wastage because poor planning. No cost control. So you are spending money too much. At the same time, low effectiveness. Your menu card didn't match with the local taste. Your pricing is too high for the target market. Your service is very poor quality. You fail to achieve your sales targets also. So this is C situation. What is that? Your resources also wasted and your purpose also unfulfilled. You are no survival prospect. Even in next 6 months also you cannot survive. Right? That is situation D. Right? So my dears, this is the impact. So you have to understand, if it is high efficient and high effectiveness means you are in the growth situation. And you are in the high efficiency but low in effectiveness. High efficiency means you are saving much but not in quality, right? So you're going to see the die slowly situation. And low efficiency, at the same time you are having high effectiveness, right? You are going to in the survival stage, right? And low efficiency as well as low effectiveness, you will die quickly as a business because you are spending too much money, you don't have efficiency, and you didn't achieve your purpose. So, situation you have to know, my dears, resource preserved but purpose unfulfilled is the A category, right? You don't achieve your purpose, but you keep your resources, right? Your resources are safe, it is used well, but your purpose is unfulfilled. So you have limited long term success, situation A. And the B situation is your resources are preserved and also your purpose is fulfilled. You have short term as well as long term success, right? And the third one, the situation C is, the resources also wasted and purpose is also unfulfilled. There is no survival prospects. You will die quickly. And the D situation, resources wasted, but your purpose is achieved. You can survive short term only, right? As a business. So this is very important metrics in an organizational success, my dears, right? And the balancing efficiency and effectiveness is very important. You have to balance the efficiency because you can't spend much money. You can't waste your resources. So You can't keep money for the next investment. So you have to be efficient as well as, right, while you are keeping your money and while you are saving the resources for the future usage, you have to fulfill the customer satisfaction, their expectations, the qualityness also. So you have to balance it. The optimal approach requires a trade-off between efficiency and effectiveness. You can't keep 100% efficiency, 0% effectiveness, or you can't keep 100% effectiveness with 0% efficiency. No, you have to trade off. So how? Avoid the resource wastage while achieving the organizational purpose. So you have to avoid your resource wastage as well as you have to keep your organizational purpose as well. At the same time, neither extreme focus on efficiency nor effectiveness alone. You have to keep the balance, not extreme 100% on efficiency or extreme 100% on effectiveness. And seek equilibrium for sustainable success also. So you have to keep efficiency and effectiveness in an equilibrium manner. Then only you can have a sustainable success. Sustainable success means long-term success, right? So that's all about efficiency and effectiveness, my dears. I hope so. Today class, it made sense with you with the basics topics about management, resources versus assets, as well as various purposes, right? And effectiveness. And you got very good idea about efficiency. It's all about minimizing the resource usage while keeping the maximum output. Effectiveness is all about fulfilling your achievement with a quality. So let's see in the next session with an other topics. Okay. Thank you all. Have a great day. And also, I have to mention this is your 10% of your entire syllabus, the chapter 1. Okay. So I will inform the next session in the groups. So let's see all of you in the next session. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye. See you.